Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Chris, your NFL writer here at OccupyFantasy.com, here with a look at the wide receiver position for the Week 15 slates on FanDuel, DraftKings, and Yahoo. As always, we'd appreciate it if you could consider subscribing to the channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, and leave a comment below if you have any questions about wide receivers on this slate. You can also consider joining our Discord, where we have Occupy staff and members talking about every single NFL DFS slate throughout the rest of the season and postseason. Wide receiver. Obviously, we see Cooper Kupp at the top of the salary table here on DraftKings. As we learned on Friday, Cooper Kupp will not be on this slate on Sunday because the Rams-Seahawks game has been moved to Tuesday evening. Same goes for the Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles. None of those players will be available for us. So Terry McLaurin, Devonta Smith, if you wanted them, they're not here to play. I am going to start with now the most expensive wide receiver available, Davante Adams. $8,900 here on DraftKings, $8,500 over on FanDuel. Adams with 30% of the targets from Aaron Rodgers, 29% of the air yards over the last 3 weeks of play. I mean, what else is there really to say? He's still going to be featured pretty heavily against the Ravens in Week 15, and Davante Adams looking like one of the only true pay-up spots on this slate. Feel like he'll be very popular with a really safe role at the wide receiver position, since there's not really anybody else expensive worth paying for at really any other position this week. Deontay Johnson with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay has 32% of the targets from Ben Roethlisberger over the Steelers' last 3 games and 36% of the team air yards. Very strong role all over the field as well, just like Adams, and it comes at a bit of a discount. Deontay Johnson, almost certainly someone worth paying for this week at the wide receiver position. CeeDee Lamb with the Dallas Cowboys. Back at the top of the target tree. His trailing 3-week numbers don't look strong because he missed a game in there, but 18% of the targets, 20% of the air yards. But I mean, we see here looking through his game logs, double-digit targets in 2 straight games. See no reason for that to be any different here against the Giants. CeeDee Lamb with double-digit targets over the last couple of games for the Cowboys. He obviously missed the game in Week 12 for them on Thanksgiving. So right back at the top there. Huge target share when he's available. Don't expect anything different. He's a strong play as well for a pretty high team total offense against the New York Giants. See all these guys that are out this week. Tyler Lockett with COVID. DeAndre Hopkins out for the year with a knee injury. Terry McLaurin, that game's not on Sunday anymore. A.J. Brown on injured reserve. Jalen Waddle out with COVID. Jamar Chase is a great option for the Bengals. However, I actually like T. Higgins. $6,500 on DraftKings. $6,800 over on FanDuel. His work has ballooned in recent weeks. He's got 29% of team targets for the last 3 weeks of play. 48%, nearly half of the air yards from Joe Burrow have gone towards T. Higgins. So while Jamar Chase was like the clear number 1 receiver in this offense for the majority of the first part of the season, it actually looks like T. Higgins has taken over that role a little bit as we wrap up the 2021 campaign. Maybe Jamar Chase is hitting the proverbial rookie wall. I still like Jamar Chase a lot, but the data shows that T. Higgins has actually been the stronger play in recent weeks, and he's more affordable than Jamar Chase, so we have to like that here. Stefan Diggs with the Buffalo Bills. 27% of the targets from Josh Allen, 44% of the air yards in recent weeks. Pretty good indicator of the fact that he's due for a touchdown, is that he hasn't scored in a couple weeks despite getting this volume. So I would think that he's going to have a pretty strong chance of being on the receiving end of a touchdown pass against the Panthers in Week 15. Other wide receivers that I think are kind of interesting this week. One, I think maybe fraud. So here you go. Braxton Barrios, 10 targets last week. I don't necessarily trust that. I mean, they're going to get Michael Carter back, so we'll see if they actually feature Braxton Barrios heavily in the passing game. But it's tough to ignore that when someone gets that type of opportunity. He played a lot more with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore unavailable. We will see if Barrios actually gets that type of attention again from Zach Wilson here in Week 15. Amon-Ra St. Brown has led the Lions in targets for the last 3 weeks of play. They're now definitely without TJ Hawkinson for the rest of the year. They're probably without DeAndre Swift in this game. So there's no reason to expect Amon-Ra St. Brown won't continue to receive a ton of targets from Jared Goff against the Arizona Cardinals. In a game where they're probably going to be chasing points. They're the biggest underdogs in the slate. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, kind of interesting. Julio Jones returned from injury last week. The result wasn't exactly what we wanted, but still think he has a shot to be the number 1 receiver in this offense against the Steelers in Week 15. DJ Moore. DJ Moore is actually on our underperforming wide receiver list for Week 15. He's at the bottom of the list, but he's had a pretty strong run in the last few weeks with Panther quarterbacks. 31% of the team targets, 38% of the air yards from those quarterbacks. And we have to believe DJ Moore is going to have a chance to get back into the end zone with that type of opportunity. Saw Robbie Anderson have the big game last week. Hopefully it's DJ Moore's turn in week 15. Despite being on the bottom of our list here, he's my favorite option on the underperforming wide receiver list. Remember, this is a list that identifies pass catchers who have seen a ton of targets, a ton of air yards, but haven't necessarily had the results in recent weeks that match those opportunities. This list is pretty gross. We have a lot of receivers on some pretty poor teams, 2 of them from the New York Giants. Kenny Gallaudet, 5,300 on DraftKings, 5,400 over on FanDuel. 19% of the targets from Giants quarterbacks in the last 3 weeks of play, 33% of the air yards, has underperformed his opportunity by over 1 expected touchdown. So this is a player that is highly due for a score, pulled off the very rare 2 reception, 15-yard box score result on 8 targets last week. Gallaudet, the quote-unquote best underperforming wide receiver on our list here. Still going to have Mike Glennon under center, so we'll see what happens there. His teammate, the other outside wide receiver for the Giants right now, Darius Slayton, 15% of the targets, 26% of the air yards, also underperforming his opportunity by 1 expected touchdown. So these 2 guys on the outside look like interesting options against the Cowboys in week 15. I actually do like stacking the Dallas offense in week 15 now with how short the slate is. So there actually is an opportunity for a run back there if you want to try a game stack for a game with a modest total here in week 15. MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling with the Green Bay Packers. 18% of the targets from Aaron Rodgers, 33% of the air yards in the last 3 weeks of play. Clearly the strongest secondary wide receiver other than Devontae Adams to consider in the Packers offense. Nico Collins, haven't talked about him much this year. Rookie wide receiver with the Houston Texans, just $3,500 on DraftKings, $5,300 over on FanDuel, 15% of the targets from Houston quarterbacks, 28% of the air yards, underperforming his opportunities by 1 expected touchdown as well in recent weeks. So Nico Collins looking like the best true punt on the board with consistent opportunity to back it up. We had the 10 targets from Braxton Barrios just last week, but Collins has had that opportunity for several weeks in a row now. So have to like the opportunity with Nico Collins against the Jaguars this weekend. That is going to do it for this video. Appreciate you watching. Very tough slate this week with all the moving parts, with all the COVID inactives, with all the games being postponed. But we're doing our best to stay on top of the news and give you the information that you need to be successful in your DFS contest this weekend. We're happy to do that as always. Keep an eye out for the daily plug at OccupyFantasy.com. We will have that published by 8 p.m. on Friday evening. That will include not just our favorite expensive and value wide receiver plays for you, but also our favorite plays at every other position, and most importantly, how to deploy those plays in the type of contests that you're playing effectively. Whether those are low-risk contests or high-risk contests, we tell you how to play those according to strategies that we've studied in contests that make sense. You certainly don't want to miss that. It's the most important part of our daily plug. Once again, for Occupy, I am Chris. Thank you for watching this video, and we will talk to you soon.